Today, I want to talk about some code that has been discovered online that does suggest that Nintendo is not only actively working on their next generation version of Nintendo Switch Online that we are going to dub Nintendo Switch Online 2.0 for the sake of this video, but this information actually potentially once again reveals and hints at the codename Ounce for the next console, and more interestingly is the discovery that Nintendo's actively using this behind the scenes right now and has servers up and running that you can look at from afar today while not being able to pull a whole lot of information around what they are actually doing with the servers at this point in time and what they will feature. I do want to take this opportunity now that the information is out there to have a broad conversation around what we need to see as Nintendo fans from Nintendo Switch Online 2.0 and hopefully come to a consensus together of some no-brainer features that we should be able to safely expect from Nintendo with their next generation hardware for NSO. And before we get on the same page with all of that, make sure you like, subscribe, and turn on your bell notification to join Sunbro Nation if you're new here. We have to first kick off this conversation by once again talking about Midori, who, just to give you a TLDR, if you're not completely familiar with this leaker, this is an individual who has a tier 1 record, essentially spotless at this point in time. Granted, they have primarily leaked accurate information about Sega and Atlas related things, but recently has been branching out into mentioning a number of different projects, code names, very early on references type things, and just before that Bleach Brave Souls announcement happened, they did directly tease that, and we have a lot of outstanding teases from Midori that we should be able to expect to come true over the course of this June timeframe, where all of the big gaming companies will be holding their presentations. And while I have been thrown off with inaccurate leakers in the past, I don't think that that's what we're dealing with here with Midori, as just some of the stuff they say that they're the only source on proves to be true. They've had enough right to convince me, but you can be the judge on all of this. But I do want to first go over the piece of code that was spotted that does suggest that Nintendo has their servers up and running for Nintendo Switch Online 2.0, or whatever they will end up calling it. As you can see the following tweet from Midori over on X, which reads, "Original research, the network servers for the next Nintendo hardware refer to the console with the codename P01. P01 is P1, NTR is Nitro, one could be short form of Ounce. This could be related to the rumors of the codename for the next Nintendo hardware. The previous Nintendo Online servers are using codenames HAC for Switch, WUP for Wii U, and CTR for 3DS. P01 has not been used before, and original research confirms these servers are unused and recently configured with similarities to previous Nintendo hardware servers. The servers are using a brand new certificate, and one server appears to allow for network transfer between HAC for Switch and P01. The certificate has a similar name to the certificate that was discovered with the rumored code name for the next Nintendo hardware." Now, Midori also answered an interesting question from a fan recently where they said, "Hello Midori, an off-topic question, but I'm willing to ask since you have sources related to Nintendo, so here it goes. What are Nintendo's plans / strategy for their mobile games at the moment and or in the future? They haven't released a new one since 2021. And Midori then replies, "I don't have any information right now, but since last month, DNA is currently working with Nintendo on the online services for the next Nintendo hardware." So while we can't really put together any kind of definitive feature list of what Nintendo might include with a Nintendo Switch Online Service 2.0, whatever they end up calling it, I do think that it's interesting to know that they're currently tinkering with things behind the scenes, obviously in a public forum where data miners can actually see the code and see the code names of what's going on, and you kind of have to know what to look for. Oatmeal Dome even chimed in on this a while back, stating that you could see these server names and things months and months back, but people just never noticed them. So apparently this has been an ongoing project from Nintendo, and you would expect that to be the case because they're not going to throw out their next gen hardware and have zero online functionality and then update it to get that functionality later. Like, that kind of stuff happened really with the Switch, with Nintendo Switch Online not really being ready to go at launch. And then of course it came out in 2018, about a year after launch, but that's not going to be the case where we have an active subscriber base for Nintendo that's incredibly successful for them, over 30+ million users strong, with a split of the base tier and the expansion pack tier that is either $20 or $50 annually. And what is interesting about DNA really spearheading the charge around the online services for Nintendo is that is the company that Nintendo partnered with and acquired to work on projects like this. They are very integrated in the mobile gaming space and have a deep understanding of how mobile applications work and how you can tie in services together together two mobile applications. And the first question mark that comes to mind is whether or not we actually see a more in-depth version of the mobile app for Nintendo Switch Online. And while that might not sound exciting on the surface, if done right, it really can be a nice benefit. Not talking about for online voice chat, because that's ridiculous, but if you have things like a PlayStation or Xbox, you know that you can go in straight through the mobile apps on each of those platforms and download games to your console remotely. Now, I know you can do the same thing with the Switch through web services and things, but just having it all in one mobile app that's tied together and that is integrated very closely with the console would be a big upgrade. I am also hopeful that we see onboard messaging and voice chat for Nintendo Switch 2, and one thing that would be nice is to be able to reply to friends while you are on your mobile app or the console, meaning if you're at work and you're trying to line up a game whenever you get back that you want everybody to hop online, you have a group chat that you can do voice or text in, and you're able to send it a message straight from your mobile device and they can reply from their Switch or their mobile device and vice versa. I think that is a lot of the kind of functionality we will see DNA be able to implement for the next gen version of Nintendo Switch Online, amongst many other features. I am hoping Nintendo does away with friend codes and goes to usernames, and you can send and accept requests that way. If we're super lucky, we might get some kind of Discord integration like the other consoles have opted for at this point in time. Even though it seems a little bit clunky, it's still there. And if Nintendo just came out of the gate with full-on Discord support and integration, that would be a massive win, because at that point in time, regardless of what platform you're playing on, PC, PS5 or Series X or S or Nintendo Switch 2, you would essentially have a bridge to contact your friends regardless of the platform they play on, and that would be a huge win. It would also take some of the responsibility off Nintendo's hands that many theorize is the reason they don't do on-system voice chat, because they just let you download the Discord app and it integrates with their system in order to let you voice chat. It's not on Nintendo for anything that goes down on that. I will say that I do think that there's a high likelihood we see messages and voice chat on board this time, and that it's not going to be a mobile app exclusive feature like it is right now. And in terms of the piece of code that shows the transferability from the HAC server to this P01 server, definitely sounds like that's something we might be doing right whenever we unbox our next generation Switch, and it looks for all of our Nintendo account purchases that we already have heard from Nintendo's own mouths will be rolling forward to the next gen console, and we're expecting backwards compatibility to absolutely be a feature. So naturally, you would expect to be able to sign into your Nintendo account, find all of your eShop purchases, and hopefully just be able to hit that re-download button across all your software and essentially do like a console transfer where you import all of your old purchase history. And obviously we would want physical backwards compatibility to be intact as well, but this part being more relevant to the online service would be that digital backwards compatibility that we would expect to be there. And while I am hoping for more console support for the retro library of games to be added in right around the launch of the next gen console, I really just want Nintendo to hammer out some of these quality of life features that are missing from the Switch today. And a lot of it may be a system resource issue with the Switch, or just things that they are kind of an afterthought since we're so late into its life cycle. But here's hoping we get themes, we get all the on-system party chat that we want, all of those features, being able to invite friends to different games and join in lobbies and things. Hopefully Nintendo Switch Online for the retro games gets an upgrade for their online matchmaking, and it's not only the option to have like 4-player split screen and that's the only way you can play it. Like, keep that as an option, but also have just like traditional lobby and matchmaking like you have with modern online games would be a huge upgrade. And I know reading through comments online, some people are split on this feature, but I personally really enjoy having trophies and achievements to chase down in games when you buy a new game. I would love to have something like that tied to our NSO profile that shows you 100%ed or got whatever the platinum trophy is, or the 100% achievements in a game like Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Will it take you forever to do? Probably yes, but for me, on certain games that I really get into, it actually does add a certain level of replay value, or just gives me that extra little push of motivation to go do some of the more time-consuming tasks in said game. So again, we don't have a full feature breakdown of what's coming in the next version of Nintendo Switch Online 2.0, but we do know that Nintendo's actively working on it for their next-gen hardware behind the scenes right now, specifically with DNA being named in the involvement. So that's really where I want to hear from you guys at this point in the video. What is your feature wish list for a next-gen Nintendo Switch Online experience? Is it just more consoles? Do you want to be able to have the ability to chat on console via text and voice chat? And do you think the mobile app should be significantly upgraded to be able to allow you to respond to things whether you're near your Switch 2 or not? And are you a fan of an achievement trophy system potentially being implemented, or do you think Nintendo is going to avoid that altogether? And are you somebody right now today that is pretty happy with the overall state of Nintendo Switch Online, or are you like me and you have kind of a laundry list of features that you really want to see Nintendo tackle out of the gate when we transition to their next gen hardware with this service? So thanks so much for watching the video today, everyone. Make sure you share all your thoughts and feelings in the comments down below before you leave, whether we agree or disagree. Also, make sure you like, subscribe, turn on your notification bell, and I will see you guys in the next video.